Welcome to Tick Drop Watch Everything.
Oh man, what a day.
Right. Picture this. Rolex turns 100, and their big, celebratory move includes a multicolored puzzle dial.
Yeah, wild.
And Audemars Piguet decides to build a transformable pocket watch using a literal 1930s hacksaw.
Insane.
And IWC just entirely deletes the winding crown from their flagship release. It is April 15th, 2026. The biggest watch brands on Earth just threw out the rulebook, and we are here to figure out why.
It is so good to be here. I mean, the energy on the floor of the Palexpo in Geneva right now is, it's absolutely unreal.
Unreal is exactly the word.
Everyone is still trying to process what we just saw over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, for you listening right now, imagine standing in that massive convention center. The doors to the Watches and Wonders Fair opened yesterday, and there is this sheer crackling electricity in the air.
Definitely.
I'm talking high stakes, all chips on the table kind of tension, because honestly, this is the most anticipated deep dive we've done in years.
Without a doubt. The gravity in that room is massive, especially when you have the Holy Trinity of watchmaking, Patek Philippe, Audemars Piguet, and Vacheron Constantin all under one roof, rubbing shoulders with the rest of the absolute heavyweights.
Exactly. And the central mission for you, listening right now, so go ahead and grab a coffee, or honestly, maybe pour a scotch for this one, is to figure out if this fair actually delivered on the immense, suffocating hype.
Right. Or are we just looking at brands playing it safe with, iterative tweaks?
Let's get right into it, starting with the absolute elephant in the room, Rolex.
Oh.
The whole industry has been holding its breath because, well, what on earth do you do when your most iconic design, the Oyster case, turns 100 years old?
People had theories.
Everyone was predicting a Coke GMT. Everyone thought we'd get a Milgauss revival.
And instead, they gave us none of that.
Zero.
They went completely granular, focusing entirely on the legacy of the Oyster case, and they did it in ways that are deeply, deeply technical. Take the new Cosmograph Daytona. They introduced it in Relisium, which is their proprietary mix of an oyster steel case paired with a platinum bezel ring.
Right, but the bezel itself isn't standard platinum, is it?
No, it's an anthracite cerachrome enriched with tungsten carbide.
Which gives it that incredibly distinct metallic sheen. It almost looks like liquid metal in person.
Precisely. It's not just black ceramic. And then they paired that bezel with a Grand Few white enamel dial and an exhibition case back.
Wait, enamel on a Daytona?
Yeah. And they also brought back the Yacht-Master II, equipped with a brand new movement, the caliber 4162, and a refined countdown mechanism.
Which is huge for the yachting guys.
Right. But then on the completely opposite end of the spectrum, you have the Oyster Perpetual 36 with this wildly colorful Jubilee motif dial.
The bezel one?
Yeah, it spells out the word ROLX in 10 different colored lacquers. And finally, the introduction of a brand new in-house metallurgy, Jubilee Gold on the Day-Date 40.
Okay, let's unpack this.
It's an alloy sitting right between.
Sorry, but I am going to push back hard here.
Oh.
Because this is a 100-year legacy we are talking about. A full century of the waterproof case that arguably built the modern sports watch.
Right.
And their big triumphant celebration is a multicolored puzzle dial spelling out their own name and a gold alloy that is just subtly less yellow.
Well,
to me, they didn't play it safe, but they didn't play it triumphant either. They just played it weird. Are those really the milestones you want for a centenary?
I mean, if we connect this to the bigger picture, I have to strongly disagree with you.
Strongly.
Strongly. Because Rolex's true brilliance has never been about sudden, massive disruptions. It is about absolute material mastery.
Okay, sure.
You have to look at what they actually achieved from an engineering standpoint here. No. Let's take the Grand Few enamel dial on the Daytona. Enamel is essentially crushed glass baked onto a metal dial layer by layer at over 800 degrees Celsius.
Right, it creates a gorgeous shine.
It creates a gorgeous permanent shine, but it is incredibly brittle.
Right, essentially glass.
Exactly. So putting a literal glass dial inside a Daytona sports chronograph designed to take high-velocity shocks, like hitting a golf ball or slamming a car door, is a paradox.
It should shatter.
It should. Rolex had to engineer a completely new micro-suspension system around the dial just so it doesn't shatter under daily wear. That is a massive flex of engineering muscle.
I see what you mean, yeah.
And Jubilee Gold. Creating a new proprietary alloy that achieves that exact hue without tarnishing over decades requires metallurgical facilities that rival aerospace labs.
But why should you, the listener, actually care about a proprietary gold alloy if you aren't dropping 40 grand on a day date? Like, what's the point?
Because Rolex's metallurgy labs eventually dictate the standard for the entire industry.
That's true.
What they invent today in their foundries, how to stabilize gold so it doesn't fade, how to machine tungsten carbide so it doesn't scratch, other brands will spend the next decade trying to mimic. They are proving that nobody else controls raw materials quite like they do.
I hear you on the metallurgy, and the trickle-down tech is a fair point, but man, it still feels like a detour aesthetically.
You think so?
I really do.
Yeah.
Because if Rolex was quietly evolving their materials, Audemars Piguet just walked into the room, completely threw out the playbook, and set it on fire.
Oh, absolutely.
We expected industrial mastery from them, and instead we got artisanal shock.
The Atelier des Établissements program. I don't think anyone saw this coming.
Nobody. I mean, instead of just giving us another blockbuster Royal Oak variation, AP releases 3 deeply collaborative 18th century inspired craft pieces.
Yes, and they are mechanically stunning. You have the Galettes, which is a fluid, pebble-shaped gold watch with a bracelet made of irregular turquoise and tiger's eye stone links.
It looks crazy in person.
It wears like a loose piece of jewelry, but the movement is custom-shaped to fit the exact irregular dimensions of the case.
Right.
Then there's the Nomade. You can wear it, carry it, or display it on a table. But the key is the skeletonized movement.
Right, the hacksaw thing.
Yes, they used a traditional hacksaw technique from the 1930s. They are literally hand-cutting these structural bridges out of the metal in a way that leaves absolutely zero margin for error.
A literal handsaw.
A literal handsaw, one slip of the saw, and the entire component is trash.
Wow.
And finally, the Peacock, which is a secret hot jewellery automaton watch. Hand-engraved wings that mechanically open through a micro-gearing system to reveal the time.
So, what does this all mean?
It's a statement.
Honestly, looking at these, it feels like an absolutely dominant stadium rock band suddenly deciding to release a deeply experimental acoustic folk album.
That's a great way to put it.
I am genuinely surprised and frankly baffled. Like, people are begging for AP sports watches, they're waiting on lists for years, and AP gives them a transformable pocket watch cut with a 1930s hacksaw. Does anyone actually want this?
Wait, stop right there, because I think you're looking at this through the wrong lens. I passionately defend this move. It is incredibly brave. What's fascinating here is AP is treating its own heritage not as a dusty museum, but as a working system.
How does building a pocket watch prove that?
Look at the name, Atelier des Établissements. In the 18th century, the établissage system meant that watchmaking was decentralized.
Right, specialists.
Different independent artisans made the cases, the dials, the escapements, and the brand brought them all together. AP is deliberately splitting and recomposing the work of independent artisans today.
Ah, I see.
They are proving to the world that they have this massive archive of high artistry, and they are leveraging it to show that true luxury isn't just about a steel sports watch on an integrated bracelet. It's about preserving human touch in a deeply mechanized world.
I get the romance of decentralized 18th century craftsmen, I really do.
Yeah.
But I still think it's a massive risk.
It is a risk.
You don't alienate your core buyer who just wants a royal oak on their wrist just to prove you can use a manual saw.
Yeah.
But, well, let's see how the market reacts. I'll reserve full judgment.
Fair enough.
Now, if AP went totally avant-garde with their history, that brings us to the third pillar of the Holy Trinity, because Patek Philippe leaned hard into poetic mechanics and quiet refinement.
And they did it with astonishing volume.
20 new models.
Insane.
Just the sheer scale of that drop is staggering.
But the focus, naturally, is on the 50th anniversary of the Nautilus. And Patek made a very deliberate, very calculated choice here.
Yep, no steel.
They released the anniversary edition strictly in precious metals, white gold and platinum. There is absolutely no steel in sight. And then there's the desk clock.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Let's talk about that Nautilus desk clock.
Oh, yes.
Because Patek knows the collector market is rabid for a steel Nautilus. They know it trades for insane multiples on the secondary market.
They definitely know.
And instead of feeding that frenzy, they essentially build a white gold desk ornament. Is this just ultimate brand arrogance telling the secondary market they don't care? Or is it just a quirky novelty for billionaires?
It's the ultimate flex, without a doubt. It is Patek Philippe reminding the market that they are not beholden to secondary market flippers. They build what they want.
A total power move.
But if you want to talk about a true engineering flex, look at the celestial sunrise sunset, reference 6105G.
Oh my God, yes.
This is a world-first astronomical complication. It displays the exact sunrise and sunset times, and it automatically adjusts those times as the seasons change.
Right, and we have to explain how insane that actually is to pull off mechanically.
Please do.
Because translating the shifting asymmetrical arc of the sun throughout the year into a physical gear train is like trying to build a mechanical computer that perfectly predicts the weather based purely on the shape of a brass wheel.
Exactly. It requires a spatial understanding of celestial mechanics mapped onto tiny, interacting toothed wheels. It's not digital. It's a computer made of brass and steel calculating daylight hours in real time.
Incredible.
And we can't ignore the fox and the crow. It's Patek's first modern automaton wristwatch, inspired by a 1958 pocket watch in their museum.
It's beautiful.
You press a pusher, and a deeply poetic mechanical theater plays out on the dial, using dedicated barrels and gear trains just to power the animation to indicate the time.
It's romantic,
Yeah.
but it's grounded in insane math.
Oh.
Now, if Patek's view of the sky is poetic and calculating, let's look at a brand whose view of the sky is all about hardcore utilitarian conquest.
IWC.
IWC.
A massive year for IWC. They leaned entirely into boundary-pushing material science. The standout is the venture vertical drive.
Yeah.
This is a space watch developed with the private spaceflight company VAST, and it is certified for human spaceflight.
And it has no crown, which is wild to look at.
None. Think about it. In a zero-gravity, high-pressure environment, a crown sticking out of the side of the case is a vulnerability.
It's a snag risk.
It can snag on a spacesuit, or the tiny gaskets inside can fail and depressurize the watch. So IWC ditched it entirely for a bezel-controlled drive system.
But how does that actually work without breaching the case seal?
They use a highly complex magnetic transmission ring, magnets. You rotate the exterior bezel, and magnets engage with an internal gearing system that connects to the mainspring. You can wind the watch and set the time without a single mechanical rod piercing the side of the case.
That is brilliant.
It is brilliant. Then they completely overhauled their legendary perpetual calendar with the ProSet system.
This is huge for anyone who actually owns a perpetual calendar because, let's be honest, they are notoriously fragile.
Exactly. With a traditional perpetual calendar, if you accidentally set the date too far forward, you can't just wind it backward.
Nope.
You literally have to let the watch sit dead in a drawer for a month until the actual date catches up, or you will snap the teeth off the incredibly complex internal gears.
Which is an expensive mistake.
Very expensive. The ProSet system decouples that gear train, allowing seamless backward and forward adjustments. You literally can't break it.
Amazing. And then there's the Ceruleum.
The Ceruleum watch features a fully glowing luminous ceramic case. They literally mixed superluminova pigments into the ceramic powder before baking it. And finally, for the 50th birthday of the engineer, they expanded the line heavily, including a highly technical Grade 5 titanium perpetual calendar and an absolutely extravagant 18-karat 5N gold tourbillon.
They really brought the heat.
I mean, this raises an important question, doesn't it? Looking at the sheer technical density of these releases, does this represent IWC's best showing in years?
It might be.
They have finally married the aesthetic legacy of Gerald Genta's engineer design with genuine cutting-edge material science.
I am right there with you on the ProSet and the vertical drive. It is phenomenal functional engineering. But I have to push back on the Ceruleum case.
Really?
I mean, let's be real for a second. You have a watch case that glows entirely in the dark. Is that actually a brilliant aviation safety tool for reading your watch in a dark cockpit? Or is it just a wildly expensive party trick for the club?
Oh, come on.
I struggle to see the true utilitarian value there. It feels a bit like a lightsaber.
It's a bit of both. Watchmaking at this level has to have a touch of theatricality. But the science behind it is what matters.
Okay, lay the science on me.
Baking ceramic requires temperatures that would normally incinerate luminous pigments entirely. Mastering the firing process to manipulate ceramic at a molecular level so that the structure cures while the pigment survives is a materials science triumph.
Okay, wow.
It proves they can control ceramics in a way other brands simply can't.
Okay, fair enough. I'll give them the science points. Now, if IWC is trying to solve the future of extreme utility by removing the crown entirely, Cartier is proving that sometimes you just want a watch that looks like a vintage sports car.
Yes. Let's talk about the Roadster.
The return of the Roadster. After a 14-year hiatus, Cartier brings it back.
It's about time.
Yes. We're talking that highly streamlined, automotive-inspired tonneau shape. It has that massive integrated crown with the signature date magnifier that swoops over the dial.
So distinct.
They dropped it in new, medium, and large sizes, offering it in steel, gold, and two-tone variations. But to make that swoop work, they have to machine a single piece of sapphire crystal to curve down from the crown and seamlessly sit over the date window.
Right.
The CNC milling required for that kind of organic shape is incredibly complex. But I want to ask you directly.
Go for it.
Does anyone actually care?
What?
Look at the current Cartier market. It is entirely obsessed with the Crash. It's obsessed with the Santos. And this year, the Tortue had some stunning new releases. In a room full of elegant, delicate, historic shapes, is bringing back these chunky, sporty roadster, a complete misread of the room by Cartier.
Not at all. I think it's actually perfect timing.
Really?
Yeah. Design trends operate on a strict 20 to 25-year cycle. The early 2000s aesthetic, that bold, slightly opulent, almost industrial sportiness, is surging back into fashion globally.
The Y2K thing.
Exactly. Buyers are looking for that Y2K nostalgia. Cartier is capitalizing on that exact wave. And mechanically, it fills a massive gap in their lineup.
How so? I mean, they have sports watches.
The Crash and the Tortue are beautiful, yes, but they are incredibly fragile dress watches. They aren't meant for daily abuse. The Roadster gives collectors that unmistakable Cartier-shaped case design language, but in a robust, water-resistant package, you can actually wear on a boat or a driving trip without worrying about shattering a paper-thin crystal. It brings pure aesthetics into the realm of daily utility.
The Y2K revival hits the watch world. I can see the appeal of having a Cartier you don't have to baby for sure.
Exactly.
Well, looking at the entire landscape we just covered, from Rolex's secret alloys and AP's hacksaws to Patek's celestial math and IWC's space bezels, I want to bring the energy to a peak here and ask the ultimate question.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Out of the sheer madness of Watches and Wonders 2026, who actually won the show?
Oh, that is the impossible question.
I'm making you answer it, but I'll go first.
Okay, let's hear it.
For me, I am passionately picking the IWC Venture Vertical Drive.
Really?
Yeah.
Not the Patek Automaton.
No, because the Venture represents sheer unapologetic innovation. To look at the winding crown, a component that has defined wristwatches for over a century, and say, we don't need it, we can engineer a magnetic transmission through the bevel for human spaceflight.
It is cool.
That is the kind of aggressive problem solving that pushes the whole industry forward. It's functional, it's tough, and it solves a real physical problem.
I see your point, and the engineering is undeniable, but I have to go in the exact opposite direction.
Let me guess.
For me, the winner is a tie between the Audemars Piguet Peacock Automaton and the Rolex Daytona in Elysium.
Wow, those are two incredibly different watches.
They look different, but they represent the exact same thing. The ultimate triumph of pure, unrestrained watchmaking craft.
Okay, sell me on that.
With Rolex achieving a flawless Grand Few enamel dial on a mass-produced, highly durable sports chronograph is a paradox they somehow solved through sheer force of microengineering. And with AP, the Peacock is a love letter to the human hand. In an era of CNC machines and silicon escapements, creating a mechanical bird that moves, powered by a micro-engineered gear train, is a celebration of artistry. It reminds us why we fell in love with mechanical watches in the first place.
The ultimate clash.
Yeah.
Aggressive engineering versus pure craft. And honestly, there are still so many more heated reactions and deep analyses coming as the rest of the week unfolds in Geneva. We are just scratching the surface here.
We really are. But as we wrap up, I want to leave you, the listener, with a lingering thought to mull over.
Lay it on them.
Think about what we just discussed. We have IWC removing the traditional winding crown entirely. We have Audemars Piguet, a titan of modern luxury, proudly utilizing 1930s hand-sawing techniques. We have Rolex fundamentally altering the chemical composition of gold.
That's a lot.
If watchmaking is a high-stakes game where the chips are centuries of heritage, it feels like the rulebook is being rewritten in real time. Are we finally entering an era where the traditional rules of what a luxury watch should look and act like are officially dead?
Find us at tick-drop.com and on all podcast platforms.